The Democratic Party is spending $20 million to come up with a plan to gain back
Whoa,
working class support and
a lot
young
of
male
money.
support. So basically the majority of America. I'm not saying this to be
That is a lot of ad revenue. For $20 million, I don't even know what a woman is. What even is a woman for $20 million? Democratic Party. That's a lot of ad revenue, and I am a black man looking for an opportunity. Don't you want to help a black man out? Help a brother out, please. All I'm saying is for $20 million, what even is a woman? I don't even know what that is.
snarky or nasty or like a gotcha like I usually do in my videos. But this isn't funny anymore, guys. Like if you're a Democrat and you're watching this, I need you to really understand what's happening right now. The DNC now has to spend millions of dollars just to figure out a way and put in an effort to gain support of like your average Joe American.
Yeah.
That's a big, big, big problem. I'm going to go down a list of things that I think would help the Democratic Party right now.
Yeah, how about first we start by not demonizing 50% of the population and blaming all of your problems on 50% of the population, and then saying that you don't need that 50% of the population. Please vote for us. That would probably help right away. Like almost expeditiously, as T.I. would say.
And this is coming from a former Democrat. Okay. Number one, young male support. Of course that's not shocking. You've built a platform for the last 20 years on hating men.
Yeah.
I choose the bear. Screw all men. I hate all men. All men are trash. Of course you don't have much young male support. Again, you've spent the last 2 decades building a platform on not needing them.
Yeah.
On thinking they're worthless, on announcing that they're useless, that women are superior. You act like we would be completely fine as a world without toxic, dangerous, horrible, shitty men. No, we actually wouldn't. Men are a lot of our infrastructure, our agriculture, labor, union, military.
See, yeah, now, if this is a Democrat, this makes sense. This is rationale, though, and on display. And I think if the Democratic Party wants to win back men, they have to be more logical and at least be able to look at objective reality and be able to come to some form of truth. I think that would also help. Logic, and I think she's demonstrating a good version of that.
You would not be okay without men. The only reason I have a big rock on my finger is because I didn't spend the last 5 years disrespecting my husband on the daily and then expecting him to get down on one knee.
Facts.
It's the same with votes. Am I saying that men are perfect and do no harm? No, of course there are horrible people.
That's actually a good point.
That's for every country, every state, every culture, it doesn't matter. There are also horrible women, though.
Yeah.
Are you going to villainize the whole community of women just because a few women are bad?
No, but the problem with the Democratic Party is what they do is they go, women are only bad because they've internalized the patriarchy, which is essentially women are only bad or only do bad things because of men. So I don't think that helps. I think that even when you demonize men to the point where you say even the faults of women is because men, and unless men are capable of changing society into essentially a utopia, men will always to blame for the faults that women may have. I don't think that's a logical message. Yeah, I don't think that helps. But that's what they do. They say that even the faults of women are only because men.
No. It's an abusive relationship. And when you guys are able to come to terms with the fact that you have been abusing men for 20 years, you'll get their votes again.
Yeah,
$20 million isn't going to get you there, though. That's coming with apology and mutual respect. The respect you think you're entitled to and not earned as a woman, yeah, same goes for men. Another huge thing that's weighing you guys down right now is the lack of diversity. And I'm not talking about race, gender, or sexual
diversity
orientation.
of thought.
I'm talking about freedom of thought, freedom of choice. You guys call MAGA and the Republican Party and the administration in office a cult, but let me give you 2 reasons why I'm going to debunk that. Actually 3. Number 1, when that Signal chat leak went out, right? Half of the group chat was disagreeing with Trump, and they were concocting a different plan to bring to him than what he wanted them to go home and do. That doesn't give fascism to me, and that doesn't give cult. They're not all thinking the same, and they feel okay to disagree with their boss.
Yeah, there were all kind of internal fights with the H-1B visas. Elon got a lot of flack for that. Vivek Ramaswamy got a lot of flack for that. That was right away. That was like literally still in the honeymoon phase of everybody getting into office. But they went against and I'm not trying to get too political here, but they went against part of the whole movement was to stop immigration. And then they're like, hey, let's bring in more people with these visas. And I think a lot of people were like, nah, let's not do that. And so there, it is divided amongst people who have different ideas. Even the stuff of like Israel, like should we be defending Israel? Should we be funding Israel? That's a huge divide on the right. So she's absolutely right. On the right now, and I know I just said like right 4 times, there is just more diversity of ideas, and people are allowed to combat their ideas with each other and still at least get along to get the job done. And I think that's because men will work with each other even if they don't like each other in order to provide a better life or in order to provide for their families in general. Men are willing to work with people they don't like, and that's something unique about the masculine.
Number 2, I remember a time just a few months ago that leftists were shaving their head, getting the same tattoos, and telling people to cut off their friends and family, unfollow them, block them, and spend Thanksgiving and Christmas completely alone. You're safe with us. Don't go home to your family. The family you've known for 40 years to never be horrible people. They wouldn't hurt a fly. But all of a sudden, they woke up on November 5th. They were the most racist, inhumane Nazis you've ever met. But don't worry, you're safe with us. You have a home with us. Don't worry, just don't stray. But you have a home with us. As if that's not the definition of cult behavior. Isolation from friends and family, matching each other, being able to identify each other, not welcoming other thoughts and opinions, not welcoming, hey, I'm questioning this.
Yeah.
And you don't think about that. You validate it. Well, we had good reasoning. No, you didn't. You want the working class and young men and just the normal average American to vote for you again? You need to come back to reality. That wasn't normal behavior.
Yeah, well, the issue was they were allowed to be delusional because people couldn't combat their arguments. And there was a long time for the Democratic Party where they could literally just say nonsense and spew nonsense, and you would literally get kicked off of social media or could potentially lose your job if you didn't agree with the nonsense and you pointed out objective reality. That was a huge problem with the Democratic Party. And the reason why it was a big problem is because it was kind of like a shot in the foot because they didn't strengthen their ideas. And once conservatives were able to speak about things again, they had been fighting and strengthening their ideas in the background for so long on just like back pages and just having these discussions that weren't supposed to be had by, some of the best minds, or at least some of the best minds on their side. And they were cultivating these ideas. And when they were allowed to speak on them, they just absolutely started decimating the Democrats. And the Democrats had no defense because they had their ideas protected and they never got challenged with scrutiny. So I think that was a big issue. And it was very similar to how cannabis was for a while. Like, I know cannabis, because you just couldn't even say that it was like not bad for you. And you can have whatever opinion you want to have, but I'm just saying this is what I seen. When the cannabis users were able to have conversations with people who are anti-cannabis, the cannabis users had collected so much data because they've been fighting for so long, proving that, this stuff wasn't as bad as the anti-cannabis people say. And because the anti-cannabis people got comfortable, the cannabis people had very strong arguments when they were able to speak their minds. And I think something similar happened to a lot of the arguments on the Democratic Party.
And the third reason that I know that I'm right, that Republicans are way more diverse in thought and freedoms than liberals, I'll give you the perfect example right now. Donald Trump, former Democrat. Elon Musk, former Democrat.
Yep.
RFK Jr., former Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat. Colin Wright, former Democrat. Tim Pool, former Democrat. I could go on.
Yeah.
And guess what? They all work together. They talk, they chat, they vibe, they listen to each other, they respect each other. None of them were Republicans. None of them ever even voted Republican, let alone be in the RNC or work for Donald Trump, who is now Republican, who wasn't always a Republican.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw a Democrat welcome in a Republican thought or value? I'll wait, because you can't name one. The whole Trump administration right now is the most diverse group of people when it comes to gender, race, sexual orientation, political values, former party, current party. You have all over the spectrum. When you see a Democrat, you know they're rallied by the same people. It's like copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And nothing else is welcomed. Otherwise, you're a Nazi or you're a MAGA or you're a racist. And then you turn around and wonder why people are intimidated by you. And not in the girl boss way. It's in a people are afraid of you way. Like, you need to come to terms with the fact that you promote yourself on like no hate, no violence, you're all love and you're welcoming and inclusive. People are terrified of you. They're terrified to disagree with you, or else there's no freedom of thought in the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And again, before you say I'm wrong, I was in the Democratic Party. And the reason I'm not anymore is not because of Trump, not because Republicans are just so gosh darn persuasive. It's because liberals are mean. And I know there are a lot of people, thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, that feel the same way and had the same experience. That's not the way to rack in votes when people are afraid to question you, when people are afraid to say, hey, this isn't cool to you, when people are afraid to call you out because they're afraid of your reaction. That's not okay. That's abusive. It's abusive. And here we are. We're here. Because of that behavior, we're here. I never asked you to like Trump. I never asked you to like me. I never asked you to like Republicans or join us or vote for us for that matter. What I'm asking of you, and this is the last thing I'll say, and I need you to hear it low and slow, is to stop loving needing to be right more than you love your party.
Yeah, she's not a Republican. Well, I mean, she's not a Democrat. She's actually a Republican, I guess. I wasn't picking that up at the beginning. But I'm not surprised she's married and she has a certain line of thinking that I think right now has been more consistent with the Republican Party. But I think that something that can really help, something that I think would actually really help, ironically enough, I think that if the left, the Democrats, leaned fully into equality, that would help. I think if they went full on, especially in the family court, I think they could transfer a lot of guys over if they really attacked the family court with equality. And I'm talking about straight up no such thing as alimony. If you choose to be the one to divorce your husband, because 79 or 72% of the divorces are filed by women. If you choose to divorce your husband and for no reason, then you don't get to leave with anything. 50-50 custody for the children so that a man doesn't have to pretty much prove his innocence in order to have access to his own children. I think if you fully attack the court system with genuine equality, you might be able to transfer a few guys over to the Democratic Party. I think that might work a little bit. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or L and give me the HBO special as I help brother out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.